Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KONTAINEROZ podcast. The podcast is sponsored by PORTPRO, the leading operating system for drayage carriers. Schedule a demo today at portpro.io. And don't forget to mention KONTAINEROZ for 10% off.
Nice.
My guest today is Jose Avila, and he's in the house. What's up, Jose?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Thanks for coming.
No worries.
And I know you're a busy man, so we're gonna try to meet your time needs. Is that even a right sentence?
Time constraints.
What?
Work with your time constraints.
Yeah, we're gonna work with your time constraints, sir.
All right.
So, hey, short notice, that's for sure. I literally called you like, what, 9:30, 9 o'clock?
Yeah,
Like,
about
yeah.
2 hours ago.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, not a lot of traffic. Had a couple hours to kill. Why not?
Yeah, and no hard feelings. Like, why are you calling me? Because someone didn't make it? Like, you didn't even care. You just, I'll be there.
No, I don't care.
But that's how it is. Like, I got a long ass fucking list, and it's just with the schedules of truckers or anyone in this industry, it's hard sometimes to line them up.
Well, you got family. You got a bunch
Yeah.
of responsibility. Shit, I got a lot of
Yeah,
things to do. But
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
So I got no hard feelings for no one. It's just that's how it is. We got to make the best, make it. Long story short, I didn't have a guest today because someone was out on the road. Someone was unable to make it. Someone had to reschedule. So every like,
Gotta roll with the
And then I
punches.
was like, last night I was like, fuck, like, I have a goal that I want to do 3 a week, like no matter what.
Yep.
And I just showed up and I'm like, I'm gonna find someone. And here you are.
You're like, Diosito, come on, do me one more solid.
He stayed taking care of me. I'm blessed. Like, I'm thankful that
You are.
shit works out.
You are.
So a little bit about you, from what I gather, is you have some experience with legal consulting, and you've been a trucker. Then, okay, the timeline: legal consulting to trucking, and then you left that to go back to consulting, and then COVID hit, and now you're back to trucking.
Yeah.
But you added a little twist to the consulting. You mind sharing with us a little bit about that? More details of your...
Well, the whole attorney trucker connection, how that came about.
Yeah, now it became attorney trucker
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah, well, because I've been in the legal field since I'm 35, so I've been in it since I was like 21, I want to say. So like 14, 15 years. And I just, over time, I worked with a lot of different law firms as a in-house, whatever, translating, it doesn't matter, document review, sales, marketing, just a bunch of different stuff. Made friends with the attorneys and just worked for like 10 plus law firms. And then
Continue.
and then over time, just built a network of attorneys, and they all needed services. So I became an independent contractor for them and just provided a bunch of different services. And it was pretty good. And then it slowed down for a while. Lost a big account for certain reasons, and got into trucking. My brother trucks, and he's like, dude, the money's not bad. I mean, it's not, oh my God, you're making $500,000 a year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty good living. So I started doing that at night and then working in the day still with the attorneys. And that was pretty fucking hectic time.
Double dipping for that bag.
Yeah, well, I had to stay alive, man, because my business is pretty good. I know people who have a very good living because they optimized everything. Like they just ran as lean as possible and did a lot of things and just networked a lot. A lot of businesses networking. And those guys have done very well doing what I do. Older dudes now, but yeah. And then finally picked up a couple good accounts a while back, and a couple of one of the biggest law firms in Southern California was one of my major accounts. And then still had all my other little ones, and then I picked up another big one. So I'm like, fuck this, I don't have to work 2 jobs anymore just to not have to have me, my kid, my
This is the
everyone worry
first
about
round,
me.
right? You did that, trucking,
So-
then went back. You're like, fuck
Yeah,
it. I'll just stay full time.
Well, that was when things got good. Then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And for a lot of legal reasons, business went down again, got hit by like 80%. So like I was just trying to keep it alive, and I said, well, fuck it, I still got my CDL, just get back in the business. But I did notice even back then when I barely started trucking, since I know a lot about the law, and I've worked in civil litigation, workers' comp, personal injury, family law, immigration law. I know people in every field, and good attorneys too, not just the shitty fucking rateros. And the liars, they're supposed to lie for you, not to you.
Ah, good one.
Yeah, man.
I love that one.
Yeah, no, serious shit, man. Like, they say, is there a good attorney or a bad attorney? Honestly, there's a competent and an incompetent. It's either you're competent or not.
Or is there a good person or a bad person?
Yeah, in a way, but it's never, it's never that black and white in that sense. You could be a big scumbag, but have a heart of gold. But anywho.
Yeah.
So now the whole attorney trucker connection came about because I noticed a lot of attorneys were screwing people over and taking money. Like, on some cases, they didn't have to do shit, and they'll still take thousands of dollars. Like, one attorney, he's a fucking trash bag, but he does a lot of radio, Channel 52, all that stuff. And you know what a live scan is, right? When you run your fingerprints?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a background check. So he would charge. He's like, we're going to run a background check on you. It's an investigation. Try to make it seem all fancy, right? And he'll charge people like $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. I'm like, dude, go to the live scan spots. There's plenty in every city. It's $50.
Oh shit.
He was a thief, and I told him, dude, I can't work for you. He's like, you're gonna make like $200,000 a year working for me. You're very good at talking, and you can close these deals. I'm like, no, you're gonna fuck people.
You are. Taught me a word today. Time constraints.
Oh, there you go. That's one of many words. But yeah, so now I have, an immigration attorney she's like my mom, and she's really, really good. I've known her forever. She's been practicing law longer than I've been alive. I got a couple guys who are just young, hungry ass criminal guys. Do a lot of criminal defense. One, drives around like Batman in his badass Aston Martin, dresses like to the nines, and he'll charge you $30,000 a retainer, just to start. And he's just an assassin. I got other guys who are just as hungry as he is. They've been practicing probably a little less, but they're just as competent. They're just hungry guys. And I've dealt with attorneys now that they love me like a son, but the thing is, they're so old. Like my buddy John, he owns a big law firm out in Rancho. And the guy he's like, dude, I have more money than I can spend. Like, I won't run out of money ever. And I'm like, John, we got to do this. Let's start doing this. And he's like, nah. He's like, you do what you want, and I'll help you with everything, but I don't need the money. Because he's so well off. Like, the guy doesn't care. So some attorneys are just kind of older, and they don't care and stuff like that. So you want to find good attorneys. And, again, that's why I came about Attorney Trucker Connection, because I noticed truckers were getting fucked by everyone. It's a gangbang. Either, you're getting fucked at the port, your company's probably not paying you right, trying to take your money, you're getting screwed by the CHP, your wife's probably screwing some other dude. Like, it's just all these things, and it's just all these things that made me think, like, man, like, these guys, they're always working. They work like animals. Like, other guys I know that are truckers, they work like fucking dogs, but they provide for their family. Some of them have fucking $1 million homes,
Yeah.
And trucking, which I never thought was possible, but now that I see the numbers and little things, I'm like, damn, they can actually pull this off, And, they got to feed their family, and they're so busy working that they're losing money if they take time off to, deal with these situations. So why not just connect them straight to someone? And you've already given me a couple shout outs. And literally, there's guys that I tell, you don't need a lawyer. Talk to the public defender. See what he has to say. Lawyers are going to try and sell you on their services, and sometimes you have such a good deal already in front of you for what? You don't need an attorney. You're going to spend a few thousand to think you're getting peace of mind. There's one guy, I think I talked to him, and I'm like, nah, you don't need an attorney. See what the public defender says. Because you won't...
Some public defenders kick ass.
Well...
Ooh, I got so lucky this time I went.
I'll tell you this. I have friends who are deputy district attorneys. Yeah. I got judge friends. Actually, one judge friend. He's cool shit. A couple of deputy DAs. And PDs. A couple of public defenders. And the thing is, public defenders make pretty decent money. It's not insane. But people have to understand that they're there to help, like, the little guy that can't afford these big retainers. So they're there for you, but the thing is that they're so overworked. They're doing, just way more than a private counsel. Private counsel has more time to analyze your case, whatever it may be. Yeah. PDs do not. They just run case facts. Yeah.
Freestyle it right there.
They run case facts. Just boom, let me see the disco, the discovery. Okay, this is okay. What time did they get you? Okay, get a private attorney. I don't have the time. I think you got a good case. Or this one has bullshit. They're going to kick this out. It's going to be a DA reject or whatever it is. So they'll tell you. Because cops can arrest you for pretty much fucking everything. You can get arrested for a DUI without even having drank alcohol. That's how bad it is. And I've seen people get arrested.
And then you have to fight it regardless.
No, you don't have to fight it. A lot of the times, the DA will kick the case out. They'll just do a DA reject because they'll say like, "Oh, this cop's probably like a stupid young one, and he just, probably this guy offended him or whatever, and he just wanted to waste his time, get his car impounded, and just it's a big drag just to deal with that." But they'll send you a letter saying like, "Man, we're not pursuing charges." And I've seen plenty of those. When I was working for my first law firm, it was a criminal defense in Sherman Oaks. And it was a very bad law firm. And that's how I started learning. And then that's how I connected with good attorneys because they had like 20 attorneys there, but they only had 2 really good ones. And I still know them to this day. One's in Long Beach, and we're actually homies. And then the other one, it's a whole different story. He's a scumbag, but he's a great attorney. But anywho, that's how I started. Criminal defense, they just said, we just need someone who knows how to talk to people, someone who's not a lying piece of shit. And you're going to talk to our clients, and we're just going to get them on retainers and take care of their cases. And then after time, I figured out this attorney was just like not doing his job. He was always, just always shitting the bed. And I had like 50 missed phone calls every Monday because either they showed up late, they didn't show up, the attorneys were who the hell knows where. They were juggling chainsaws pretty much. So I would have to, see what I could do. I'd call the attorneys, hey, where you at? Whatever. It's like the ports. What port you at? Like, I'm at West Basin. Oh, you got to be a trade pack in like 20 minutes. It's crazy like that because some attorneys, they don't make their money in one court. The attorney's biggest time suck is traffic. Because some attorneys got to go to Rancho Cucamonga, San Bernardino, then you got to be in Downey at 2 or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So I was actually going to develop an app a long time ago, but it was so expensive. But where attorneys it's like Uber for attorneys. They could all cover each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah, somebody created it, but not as good as my idea. My idea has a lot more, but
someone did that to me. Like, shit happened. So, but they covered me regardless. So they made sure I was taken care of. Because I remember they sent a girl in, and then she came up to me like, "I'm covering for so and so."
Okay, yeah.
So I was still taken care of. Yeah. So that's a good app. It'll be helpful,
Yeah, we'll see. I might get on it in the future. Mine is better than the one that's out, but the one that's out's poorly marketed. Whatever, doesn't matter. Neither here nor there.
It's all about ATC right now. ATC.
It's not even anything that's gonna make me any money anytime soon, which I'm fine with. It's more just helping people because we all need good karma.
And I know you're a helper, bro.
Yeah.
Shit. You're very good at repoing. Me. You're good at repoing.
People have helped me.
Suburbans with vomit.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna talk about that?
I'm down. Yeah. I'm sorry I put you through that, but I think
no, don't worry about it, man. Don't you and I deal with a lot of the same demons.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, what do you want to talk about? You calling me to fucking take you and shit, and I'm like, you could drive my car or something. Yeah, I'll just take yours, and I forget how it went, and then there's vomit
we made it
everywhere.
happen, and then you had that face like, dude,
son of a.
But you still went in. There's fucking I just kicked the table. Shit. There's fucking mozzarella sticks in the cup holders.
It's like sushi.
And they're floating. They're floating in vomit juice.
Nah, it wasn't that bad. It got on the sides and.
You didn't put your hand in there. That's why.
No, man, I haven't touched any of that shit. But you made your mistake, and that's all right. Life's about lessons, and what are you gonna do?
Do you ever feel you get caught up though, like being so helpful to others? Because you didn't even know me, and you're like Mr. Yes Man. There's got to be a time when you feel like I can't be there all the time.
I don't talk to a lot of friends anymore because I've become. You give too much of yourself. And at a certain point, you take care of yourself a lot, but you give a lot to yourself, and you have to know when to not give so much. But at the same time, I can't turn my back on anyone for the most part, just because, dude, like the biggest accounts I've gotten are through people that, they didn't even fucking know me that well. And they introduced me to one of the biggest law firm. Like, they introduced me straight to the owner of this firm. This guy's making like $50 million a year.
And they didn't plan that.
No, he just said, hey, man, I beat up this guy when we were in middle school, and now he's like the hot shot at this law firm. And I have to go in there to offer my services. And then he's like, I want you to talk to him because you're better than his guy. And his guy's like a douche. And this guy's going to give you a lot of work. And so I show up and we get along right away, just start kicking the shit. And he's like, you know what? If you're as good as this guy says you are, my last guy was here 15 years. And it's contract work. So I'm only working about 10 hours a week, 10 to like 15 hours a week. And I'm billing, you could bill like $100, $120 an hour, $90 an hour, whatever it may be. So it was good. It was good because I had a bunch of other law firms, smaller ones, but still all that adds up, and that's what kept me busy. But back to the point, it's people that didn't know me that well, they just said, hey, it's just networking and helping people, and one day it may pay off, but even if it doesn't, you still you helped, and every business I think is the first and foremost, it's like help, like you're in the human business.
Yeah.
You're not in the business of trucking. You're in the business of getting something done, but also being a good, like being nice to the customer, taking care of them, making sure thing,
Service.
human interactions. Yeah. Like, and that's what a lot of, I left to start my own thing years ago before I got into trucking, doing nothing but criminal defense. After the criminal defense firm, me and one of the other attorneys that was really good, we teamed up and I did all the marketing. I did a bunch of stuff for him. All he had to do was go to court. And then he was a white guy, but he was very, very good. So he would just send me emails. Hey, so with, John Sanchez, so we kicked the case out a month and we're coming back. The DA wants this. I think fuck the DA. You go eat shit. I hate that guy. I used to fuck his wife or something. And they'll go back and forth. And he's like, nah, I think I could get a better deal, but we got to wait till, set up the trial. And we did that business for years. And then he lost his license because I didn't know he did personal injury. And the biggest thing you can't do in personal injury or in any injury, attorney or any legal whatever, where there's money involved, there's a trust account. And if you start taking out money from there, that like you're supposed to maintain a certain balance. And this guy was dipping into that to pay for his fucking wife's Escalade, his Cadillac DeVille or whatever, his badass house in Laguna. And one day I lent him a good amount of money.
That trust is pertaining to each case, or it's just like something that...
What do you mean?
The trust that he was dipping into.
Oh, the trust account was like one client I remember that she got a check for like 150 G's.
Okay.
And I think he was supposed to give her the first cut, which was like 80 grand, and he only had like 30 in the account.
Oh.
He's supposed to have at least like 100 at that time or something. I mean, but it all depends. A trust account, I didn't know how much he had, but he had to have a minimum balance and he didn't. Some attorneys' trusts are like millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Why did they get put in the position to guard that money? Or
it's called a trust. You trust because what happens is
I give it to them when they're a certain age.
They're gonna run. No. Well, that we can get into that. But the thing is, it goes to the attorney first from the insurance or from the county or from whatever. The attorney then disperses the funds to anyone who has liens on the case. Whoever's owed money on that case, they put liens on it. And then they satisfy the liens. Then the attorney takes his contingency, which is whatever you negotiated or whatever was in paper, whether it be 20, 30, 33, 40, 45, 50%. So then he takes his cut and then sends you a breakdown and gives you the rest and gives you a check, a thing to sign. So, yeah. So that's how the trust works, and attorneys are trusted because if they violate that trust, they lose their license, get it suspended, they get in huge shit. So it's like your CDL when, something bad happens, you get into, or nurses get in trouble, doctors.
They tap into that financial realm. It sounds like a whole another field as to what they already do, attorney.
No. I mean, it's not that difficult. It's just break down numbers. Who's owed this chiropractic, this surgeon did this spine surgery, this, whatever, this facial reconstruction got done, and all these people are owed, and then they're going to send you an astronomical bill, and then you just negotiate it, and then you come to a certain agreement, and you pay them, and that's it. They take all the liens off because if the liens aren't satisfied, you can't settle the case. It goes into I think some type of arbitration or something.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they have to have an arbiter, and he has to sign off. I've had a case like that, a big one, where something killed a few people. Our girl was horribly disfigured, and our guy wanted to give her nothing out of the first dip in the chip, but the first round of money that came in was from the property. They only had $1 million, which was nothing because we're going after the manufacturer, which was $10 million, and then other stuff that would have made that case even bigger. But that case, I remember our girl was it was bad. She needed reconstruction, a new knee. Facial reconstruction, surgery on her shoulder. Man. And I think the guy's we wanted, I think at least $250,000 just for that piece. It wasn't all of the money that was going to come in just for that because it was $1 million. We got to divvy it up amongst a couple of people. I'm not going to say the number because this happened locally.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening was we had to go to binding arbitration because we couldn't get into an agreement. We couldn't agree on anything. The guy said, "Oh, give her $100,000 and make her go away." Fuck you. Yeah, your guy got one of his nuts blown off. But, and his leg, I think. But still. Anywho, and ended up, we ended up getting more. And the difference between arbitration, binding arbitration is they got a arbiter, arbitro. It's Latin. A lot of legal terms are Latin. A lot of legal lingo, They say that shit to confuse you.
Yeah,
but it's all, they'll say whatever, habeas corpus, all this shit. It's all Latin, but... So arbitration is the arbiter, arbitro, right? And he's the one going hey, he's the referee type deal. Binding arbitration is where you're both bound, which means you both sign off saying we agree on whatever that guy's decision is and we can't appeal it. So we went to binding arbitration, which means you can't appeal that, and that's what it is. And we got more, so it was good. But it's like a poker game because at that point you can't appeal shit. So if you would have told us 50 cents, we had to take that 50 cents.
Oh shit. Maybe people throw a little something under the table to the arbitro, you know?
That's what I suggested originally.
Allegedly?
Originally that popped
Uh-huh.
into my head
Uh-huh.
right away, and one of the attorneys who's now retired.
Yeah.
He used to work with Larry H. Parker. They were like college
Get a little
buddies.
closer
Oh,
to
sorry.
the...
Yeah. So that guy told me how that works, and he's like, it's very possible, but I don't think so. But you know, because there's people that are jaded. They're just people that people can be swayed with money or with other stuff. But you know, but in that case, I don't think so. I think it's a fair decision. But
Okay.
yeah, everyone has that idea in the back of their head, like, man, what if you bribe him with an extra 50
But
G's?
knowing he can lose his job as well, so it's a
No,
risk.
actually,
It's a risk for him too. And
no, because this guy doesn't have a job. He's an arbiter. I mean, I forget how that worked.
what's
but
the
it's like
salary
it's
for
like
the
a ret-
average arbiter?
I have no idea because I don't know. I don't even know who pays them.
Oh.
Because these, from my understanding, it's like a retired judge, the one that did ours, and I don't know if that's who does all arbitration, like binding arbitration and stuff. It's like an outside party or something, from my understanding. But again, dude, I'm not an attorney. I'm not licensed to practice law. I've just been hanging around with these fucking animals for such a long time that we
Yeah.
talk to them. There's
Learn a little thing here and there.
yeah, there's one attorney who's a retired judge out in Pasadena. His name's Grady. Awesome guy. And he explained so much law to me when I was like in my very early 20s. I would ask him. I worked for a big law firm, very respected law firm in Pasadena. And I remember every time I would, the owner of that firm hated me talking to him because we would just shoot the shit for hours because he wouldn't stop talking. But I loved listening to him because the stuff he would tell you is so interesting. So I would tell him something, ask him a question, and he wouldn't give me an answer. He'd give me the history of the fucking answer. So I'd say, okay, well, Jose, you have to understand when this right started, it's because of this and this, and this is why that happened. So it's complete nonsense, but and he would just break down laws and make you think it's not 1 + 2 = 3 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is why 1 + 2 = 3. He'll explain to you.
Yeah, it's really supported. So you.
Oh yeah. So he makes you understand
Yeah.
like something, like why something is
Not
the
like
way
yes.
it
Oh yes. Okay.
is. Okay, yeah, no,
Then
this
you
guy.
still go do the opposite.
No, he would always tell me, "Have a seat, Jose," and I would sit down, and he's like, "Okay." So and then he'd start take an hour explaining something, but very helpful guy. But he taught me a lot. So
Well, what about if we that's a lot of, there's a lot of people in trucking. They do other things as well, but this one is
and like an
another
interesting
one.
thing.
Another one to throw in there. Like, there's guys that do music. There's guys that do. We got a taquero out there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hustlers. There it is. They go get it.
Well, you have to,
No matter what.
the art of survival, man. Survival, life always finds a way. And you have to. I mean, when the business was so good with the attorneys, it was great. But I noticed I was a workaholic. I was working 7 days a week because you have to keep them happy. It's like having a gorgeous girlfriend. Mm-hmm. You got to keep her happy at all times, or she's gone. She's gonna start fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just keep the attorneys happy at all times. Like, I got a call the other day. Yesterday I got the text from one of the attorneys on a rancho. He's like, "Hey, dude, can you go to San Diego first thing in the morning, Sunday?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, shit, I kind of want to take my kids and go out there and there's a really good sushi spot and walk around and do all that shit, and I'll charge them $400 or $500 just to go out there, and plus I don't pay shit for gas. I just plug my shit in, go have a coffee."
That Tesla life. What?
Yeah, no.
Humildemente.
No, I don't recommend people buying those things. Too expensive to repair. And I bought mine to put miles on it, man. Unlimited free charging. Just put a fuckload of miles, and it justified the expense. Because when I was driving around, I bought a Prius to not waste a lot of gas, but I was wasting like $800 a month just on gas because I was driving so much. Yeah, dude, I had to go everywhere to satisfy the attorneys. I had a guy who would send me to San Francisco, and I had to go probably twice a month to San Fran.
How long will the charge last you on that car?
Mine's is a Model S.
And where do you plug it in? Do you have
there's
to
a lot
put
of chargers.
something at your house?
You could charge it at your house, but that's a whole nother thing. But you could do it at your house. Since I have a limited supercharging and I have a supercharger by my house, I just plug it in and walk home. Or just plug it. It charges like in an hour and a half, something like that. I mean, to charge 70% from zero, it takes 20 minutes. But to charge that last 30% takes an hour. Because it's
there's a word
kilowatts.
for that. What is that called?
Degradation or something?
Huh?
Degradation.
There's a lot of the new iPhones, and they have so you don't overcharge.
Yeah, because
it goes fast towards the end. It's really slow.
You mess up those batteries. My car is gonna be out of warranty this year, and it's like $18,000 to replace the battery.
Holy shit!
I posted something about my drive unit. They wanted 15 G's to fix my drive unit, And it turns out it was just like a little weld that broke. That's their fault. And I just said, fuck it. I'm taking this apart myself because I like taking things apart and figuring out how they work, you know? So I
Okay.
just took the whole thing, the whole motor out, and I'm like, it's a broken weld. And my buddy owns a shop, the one I told you that lives down here.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a nice big shop. And I'm like, let me borrow your crane and let me borrow your lift and all that. And he's like, yeah, sure. Just buy me like a 12-pack and a Campechano and we're straight.
You like
And
Joe Rogan. You got a lot of buddies.
I like to have a lot of friends. It's
Yeah.
nice to have acquaintances because,
Yeah.
you know, you never know when they come in handy, man.
Can you tell us about your beginnings?
Yeah, I was a kid. And then I grew up and that was it.
That's interesting. All right. Can you tell me about now?
That,
Nah. Where did you grow up?
Long Beach. Born in Long Beach Memorial when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it.
You don't really want to go through that, huh?
No,
You
no.
want
It's
to talk
just
about that?
Nah, for what? It's not an interesting childhood. I used to work at the swap meet when I was a little kid.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's what made me a hustler, actually. I was
Okay,
like
see?
7 years old, and I would
Mhm.
go to the swap meet because I wanted money. And yeah, and I would work selling video games. Then I started working at another swap meet, and I was like 12 or 13, and I needed money. I like to dress well. And, you know, my parents weren't like well-to-dos, so I like to dress with the nicest clothes you can buy, the nicest phone, everything. And so I got a job working for an Asian dude, and then he let me run his cell phone shop when I was 15. And it was a cell phone shop, and I was 15 in Buena Park, and I was running the cell phone shop, and I had a helper. I would take apart Nextel phones and install the see-through cases on those old piece of shit chirp phones,
The bricks.
the bricks, all that stuff. And then I remember one time, funny story, and I don't know if I'm gonna burn him, but we were sending, well, fuck him, whatever. Hey, he's a great guy, but you know,
You're right. It's not that interesting.
No, this is very
I'm
interesting.
already bored.
Well, hold on. So he was sending,
Just fucking with
he was sending phones to the cartel. And I was activating boxes of phones, Nextel phones. I was activating a shitload of phones every day. And then he would just have me make up names. And I was a minor. And I was just making up names. Like, why is this guy in Houston, Tech, like fucking Tecate and like right by the border in like Texas, Laredo or some shit. I forget. Always getting 714 numbers. Always getting a gang of prepaid cards, stacks like this of nothing but $50, $100 prepaid cards. And I didn't put that together till like 10, 15 years later.
So the cards were in aside from the phones, or
No, it all came in a giant
prepaid
box.
cards
Prepaid cards to load up the phones.
for burners.
For the yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like the big boss would get his I-95. It was like $500. All the little pochos or whatever you call them, the little dudes, they would get the I-85s, the cheapy chirp brick ones. And I remember we'd send like 3 of the expensive ones and then like 30 of the little ones. And every week. And this guy, later on I come to find out, he ended up getting in trouble with the law, and turns out he's Asian dude. And his brother got in big trouble too he was in prison for a long time for other stuff. But I didn't figure out till like recently, till like 5-6 years ago. I'm like, wait, didn't his kids do? Wait, that's a. I'm like, holy shit, he was fucking, you know, involved in crime allegedly.
You were an accomplice, allegedly.
Yeah, I was a minor.
Yeah, minor.
And I don't know. Good luck proving all that.
Yeah. Wow. No que no muy interesting, huh?
Oh no, there's way crazier.
Yeah,
The
shit just pops up.
There's a trucker one. The trucking one. There's a big company.
That's a recent one. That's not childhood. We're past that chapter now. Cross out the childhood. There we go.
Yeah, that's nothing really.
Now we're on
interesting
to
about that.
a crazy trucker story. All right.
Yeah. So
Let's do it.
there was an interesting one, and I'm got to be careful with the facts. It happened a while
Yes,
ago.
please. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Re-edit.
I don't want to edit, bro.
Yeah.
I want to sing.
Pinche huevón. No, well, it was a guy driving home from dinner with a woman, girlfriend, whatever it may be. Driving home, there was a non-experienced driver. He didn't turn on his flashers on the freeway, so the tail was sticking out.
Lights or flashers?
The all of it. It was not, you know, a semi truck needs to turn on its flashers or at least some type of lights. No
Warning.
lights. Yeah, no lights.
Oh,
were
it
on.
was stopped.
It was
not
turned off
driving.
completely.
Oh, okay.
The trucker was inexperienced. He didn't put on his flashers. He didn't put shit. I don't know how far along he was into his stop. This guy and the lady die. Not gonna say how, but it's a pretty terrible death.
Oh shit.
So they go to contact. They thought it was his wife. Yeah.
So they like ran
The
into
back of the truck, like
Oh,
hit it and spun out and whatever. It was horrible.
Probably got decapitated, man.
That's your opinion. That might have been what happened. But anywho, we go to, I guess our firm his wife hires this guy, this big law firm, to represent him. So then what the big law firm does is she goes, she finds out because like he was with a woman. Oh, that fucker was cheating on me
Oh shit.
with this lady. And then what ends up happening is, she dies, he dies. They contact the wife hires the attorney to sue the trucking company, which they sue. Turns out they couldn't even cut her the check, or they couldn't at the time because he was already married and he had just like had whole another family and abandoned that wife to get with his new wife. So they had to now go find that lady and talk to her, see if she want to retain them, which technically can't really do, but she's more than happy to do it because she's going to get a big ass check for a bunch of money. Because trucking companies, the thing about them, and that's why I tell truckers to be careful, because they have big insurance policies. That's why you see all these attorneys saying Uber or truckers. Uber has to have $1 million policy. When you're involved in an Uber accident, your insurance it's not active. It's the Uber insurance that covers you, and it's $1 million policy. That's why you see all these attorneys saying, Uber lawyers, we specialize in Uber. No, you fucking don't. You just know the money's there.
Oh.
Same thing with truckers. Truckers have to cover their ass, have cameras in their trucks, I tell them, because what ends up happening is there's a lot of fucking scams where people will park, like, be on the freeway, one pulls up next to you, one pulls up on the other side, one in front, the guy on the side slams his brakes, and the way we work is you're not gonna, you gotta move to the one or the other side, and you don't have enough time to look sometimes, and you hit the other person, and technically, you're supposed to just hit the guy in front of you. And if you have a camera to prove that, that's fraud and it's a felony. And one time my friend got in a big accident like that. He goes, dude, I just hit these fucking assholes.
Oh.
He rear-ended a brand new BMW. He's like, I rear-ended him. There's like 4 Asian dudes, whatever. I'm like, all right, sounds like fraud. Tell them you have a camera in your truck. You record everything. It's a felony and you're going to call the sheriff or the police or the CHP. As soon as he told that, se pelaron a la verga. Yeah, because technically my buddy was in the wrong, but because you're supposed to keep certain space in between, doesn't matter if it's bumper to bumper, which is stupid, but these guys were going next to him and just brake checking like at 80s, like 70 miles an hour, and just brake checking him every couple minutes, because you could get paid, dude. And the thing is, it's fraud though, and if there's video proving it, because straight up you're fucked.
Yeah.
Straight
also,
up.
it would justify if there's no traffic ahead of that car that's
Exactly,
stopping.
but
why are you stopping?
Exactly, they could. But the thing is this, you could say a bunny passed by, or homeless guy, which in this area is pretty common. I was one time leaving West Basin, hopping on the 110 or whatever that freeway is, and I saw somebody. I was like, there was so much fog and marine layer, I couldn't see anything. I was driving out. This happened a few months ago. Thankfully, I saw like a flash, but the guy was wearing like a black trench coat, like raincoat, and it was super foggy. It was like 2 a.m. And dude, if I wasn't like trucha
On a sick one.
on a sick one, it would have been his ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, truckers have to guard their license. Be careful, because
Even that though, they're not gonna see anyone. So the main thing I take from this is get that fucking dash cam.
Dash cam's the best. Spend $100.
I think
a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I didn't jump on it because it just sounded like you gotta be like tech savvy. Like
it's a camera with like a memory disc and like a charger, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if something happens, you just pull it out. Or what?
That's it. But it'll cover your ass with insurances because, you have 2 accidents or something, and that's your license.
You're right.
Or whatever it is. I don't know how many points truckers get per accident. I know a regular license like 2 points if you're at fault, depending, shit like that.
Oh,
if it's over $1,000, if it's under, you don't get points, I think. So.
What about a crazy port story? You already shared a crazy case story,
Port.
right?
I don't know.
Port story, because the port, you ain't been there long enough maybe to see a crazy story. Oh, what about the longest you waited or something like that?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's I don't.
If you don't mind me asking,
no, it's not. It's not interesting.
If you don't mind me asking, are you by the hour right now or by the load, by the move?
Owner operator.
Owner operator.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whatever that is. But I had a company when I barely started to truck again, like maybe 6-8 months ago. They were paying me by the hour, and they told me go wait at WBCT for a chassis, and I said, like, es la marcha de muerte, you're sending me to my fucking death, the march of death. Yeah. I'm gonna be there all day. And he goes, yeah, I don't care, I gotta get this load out. And this guy didn't have his own chassis. I was there, no bullshit, from 7 a.m. to about, I think, midnight or 1. Right before they closed, they're like, dude, we got 1 chassis. You're lucky. We weren't gonna, thankfully this guy brought his in, or I forget what happened. That they probably felt sorry for me, but it was cool. Shit, I had my phone. I was watching a bunch of movies or whatever, just rolling on phone calls, and they're paying you almost $40 an hour just to sit there plus overtime and then double overtime So I'm like, dude, you just pay me like $600-700 just to wait, or whatever the math adds up to minus taxes.
Yeah.
But I think it's a waste of time. It gets on my nerves. That's why I didn't like trucking. That's my biggest thing. I left it because it's stressful in the ports.
But some would say that was easy money because it was by the hour and you were just chilling.
Yeah,
You're
but-
getting paid regardless.
Okay, but
But you're like
wouldn't
mentally.
you want to concentrate your time on things that could produce more income?
Okay.
You know, it's like the question my friend asked. You know, he was broke forever. Now he has a pretty solid, like, multi-million-dollar business every year in construction. And he would tell people, like, you know, how much do you want an hour? What do you want for an hour of your life? They go like, I don't know, $100-200. And he goes, all right, then why do you work for $20 an hour? You know, it makes you think, like, why do I work for this much if I think I'm worth more? If you're worth more, go get what you're worth. But as far as the trucking goes, yeah, it got really annoying just waiting, and then how disrespectful the people in the port are, you know. And I'm nice to everyone, I try to be, but it's just weird. Like, well, why is your day going this bad that you have to, like, I get it, you're fucking obese and cockeyed and shit.
Oh shit.
But it's like, you know, it's like, why take your aggression out on the people?
You didn't go look for it. You just okay.
You know, it's crazy. It's just like, you got a comfortable job. I hear they make a decent living. I don't know what they make exactly. I hear 170, 250.
I think there's different levels.
Yeah. I hear some people making like 300. Like the super high level, supposedly like 275, 300. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. But it's like, it's not a job. Pretty much their education level, with that type of education, you probably would work at Walmart or Starbucks or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a civil engineer makes 100-some-thousand a year. They're making like double that or whatever.
Yeah.
And like their education, it's more like a lottery you win, from my understanding, or something, to get that type of gig. And it's like, you would at least be nice if you're gonna fucking make this much money, and, you know, like, not it's, you know, not be, you know, you don't have to have crazy education or anything. You're not a business owner. You don't deal with that stress. You just clock in, do your job, clock out, and make that much. At least be nice.
Yeah, because in there, like, we're all working class when we get in there, you know. So
Yeah.
I try not to. Yeah. I guess some people, it gets to their head, you know.
I learned that from an old guy. I have his license plate. It says, like, thank you, ILWU, International Longshoremen Warehouse Union. Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah?
International Longshore
International
Warehouse
well,
Workers Union.
Anyway.
Warehouse Workers Union.
Anyway, he tells me I was charging my car at a charger, and then he, like, you know, I have like some nice wheels on my car, like they're stock, but like the nicer ones. And we were talking, and I saw his thing, and I'm like, oh, that's funny, your license plate. He's like, oh, I was a longshoreman for this many years. And that's funny, not a lot of them drive, you know, this type of car. He's like, yeah, you're going to learn. There's a lot of classes there, like a lot of like different types of people. Like, yeah, they might have a good job, but some are just like, you know, lower class. They act a bit different than some who are nicer and shit like that. It's like, you'll find out, like, you know.
Different personalities?
Yeah, he's like, some people are just like hillbillies and just cunts. And some people are actually pretty decent, which I've met both. I met some people that work there, and they're just super nice. And you bullshit with them, have a cigarette with them, and they're just shooting the shit, and they're nice people. And then some are just like, well, you know, just horrible.
Some make you wonder, what the fuck did I do?
No, not even that. It's like, who did this to you? You know, like, who the fuck, who treated you so bad that you have to take out your, you know, your shitty existence on
I got
people?
a candy bar. Let me know.
Yeah, exactly, like a Twinkie and shit. And I used to have cigars back a long time ago.
Yeah.
When I used to smoke, I used to have cigars, and I noticed the chassis guys, they were smokers too, and we'd bullshit, and I'd like give them a smoke or whatever, and we just talk about cigars, and they're nice, you know. So some people, everyone's different, takes all kinds.
Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Real quickly, I know we're running out of time. Ooh, look at the time. 11:11, right when I looked at it. Bam.
Great.
Anyways, that's just a personal thing. I'd be looking at numbers randomly and shit happens.
4.
I'll tell you one real quick. In court, when I went last Thursday, I thought I was gonna get
remanded.
Yeah, and I didn't. and shortly before, I looked up. I was looking at my daughter's picture on the phone.
Yeah.
And it was 11:11. I was like, oh shit. And then I think I got ADD because momentarily I forgot about the time, right?
Yeah.
And then I just looked up and I noticed they have like a digital clock up there, like red numbers.
Oh yeah.
And then right when I looked up, it was 11:11. I was like, oh shit. Then the judge sentenced
That's what you get for raping an 11-year-old.
No. Something. Then he gave a date to someone.
11/11.
No.
69.
No. 2/22/22. So we went from 11 to 22
Yeah,
to 2.
some of that's like astronomy, or from my
I don't know,
understanding, or
bro,
it's
but
like
I just want to run with it and say that that's like when that happens to me, like I'm getting looked out for or something.
or if you're Latino, your mom will tell you. You tell her
Get-
this, get
get
the lottery
lucky.
ticket. Get the
Yeah,
lottery.
vete a comprar, vete al casino, way.
Vete al casino, yeah, yeah.
But anyways, that day I got really lucky with that case.
Yeah, dude, I told you why.
And then,
If you want to talk about it, I told you why. My guy,
yeah,
I ran it, and I'm like, well, it's a PV, and he's like, oh fuck, yeah, they're not gonna give him bail. He's like, they're gonna take him into custody. And then you said that your guy didn't do anything to you as far as violating you in regards to that PV. So
she didn't yet. I think she's
yeah,
waiting.
and
She's waiting
to
for
see
the.
what happens.
Yeah, she's waiting
but
for
at
the
least you didn't
conviction.
get. At least if they would have
Yeah.
violated you there and then, you would have taken it.
Yeah, I think by now they would have came and got me or something. Cause
Well,
yeah, so
better have a window somewhere to find.
I think if I went this long without her having someone pick me up, I think I'm good. We'll see.
Yeah.
I already, literally yesterday, I enrolled in that drug and alcohol program.
Prevention.
Yeah, they gave me 3 months of that.
Yeah.
And
You gotta do it.
I just want to get that out of the way. Anyways, excuse me, guys. This orange juice got me gassy. Got me gassy.
Yep, smells in here.
So, no, not that kind of gassy.
Then it's me.
Yes, sir. How did you end up at the port? That, real briefly, you could have chosen anything to do on the side when it slowed down for you in the consulting. So why that? Like, because your brother was in it. And
Yeah,
he was
well,
like, "Hey,
my
what's up?"
brother was in it, and it just seemed like the lowest hanging fruit at the time that could make the most money, because I was seeing guys my age, like doing pretty well, like in in my earlier mid 20s, and they're doing pretty well. And it's like, but they weren't fine. That someone's got to teach these young Latinos how to spend their money, like how to invest, and not just in bullshit currencies and stuff like that, but actual investments, buy a bunch of property or whatever. But man, we've all been there. Buy that expensive ass car, fucking $1,000 car note or $2,000 whatever. But the thing is that
You go to these. Sorry for interrupting you.
No.
You go to these communities and you see these badass whips outside parked on the street, and you got like everyone living in like 10 heads. Wow, that's exaggerated, but five to 6 heads renting the house. Renting like. We need to be educated on priorities. And I've done that. So
but
I'm not talking shit about them. It's just that.
No, we've all done that because it's a trial by error, or not trial by error.
That's the lowest hanging fruit, you could say, because it's easier to qualify for a new whip than a car, maybe.
Not
like
a new whip.
This is a status symbol. I got this nice whip.
Yeah.
I'm doing
good.
But
you know why? Because we're poor. We were brought up poor. Not a lot of people are wealthy. And I've my best friend, my very close friend. I guess I call my best friend. He's a gay guy, right? Mm-hmm. And I love him to death. And he was brought up with the rich people mindset. His parents are wealthy. His dad owned a big business. My friend owns a couple apartment complexes, a really nice big house in Downey. Always drives brand new Beamers. And those Beamers are paid for through taxes. Like, this guy figured out every fucking loophole. Has a very comfortable job at J.P. Morgan. And he always taught me, and he would always see me in nice clothes and all this when I was making decent money, like, bullshit, like shit, pendejadas, like Dolce & Gabbana, all this crap, that you don't really need. You don't care. Like, now I don't give a shit what I wear as long as I look decent in it. And then he introduced me to his friends. And a girl there, her dad owned a huge construction company in Downey. And she would wear, like, average clothes, drive, like, a 20-year-old Honda. And she would tell me, like, why do you buy that? I have a real, like, nice shirt that I love with Al Pacino on it. And I love that shirt. That's like my prized possession, just because I was always looking for that shirt, could never find it. Somebody got it for me. And it's like $400 shirt, and it's the biggest piece of shit material, whatever. But it has like Al Pacino, it's D&G brand. It's like this very limited shirt. And she was like, "That's a cool shirt." And like, what was it, like $10, $11? And I was like, "That was like $450." She's like, "What?" And she's like, "This shirt was $5. These shoes, like, they're old. I got them at a vintage store." But you go to her house in North Downey on Gallatin's, it's fucking pad, like. And the dad taught them, like, no, like, they don't financially educate you in school because they don't want you to be well off. They want you to work at the Burger King.
Work for the guy that's
well off. To work
off.
for the man. They want you to not create generational wealth, because then your generational wealth, these kids that don't have to worry about money, guess what? They don't have to have a fucking job. They could just live on the interest, on the rents. They could live on the business, run the businesses. So I think that's my little conspiracy theory about schools, that they don't teach financial education. They teach you some things that you might not even need. But they need to educate raza, like when these kids get these decent paying gigs, to put more money in this, buy a piece of shit house, fix it up, add an additional dwelling unit, build some equity, refinance, do it all over again. If you can't afford in California, go to Bakersfield, go to Manteca, Modesto. You don't have to buy in this part of California.
Yeah.
And there's ways like that of just building wealth over time. That's why my brother's getting out of the trucking business, because he's doing, he's been in real estate for a few years, and now he's finally doing pretty okay. And recently he showed me a check, and I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. And he's like, yeah. It's like, I've been working.
We're not gonna be young forever. We gotta
no.
that in somewhere.
I know truckers right now that my cousin is again, he's a great story of perseverance. His father passed from cancer, my uncle. And he had 3 sisters. They came up and they busted their ass. They all went to a good university. He went to USC. He got his doctorate like in kinesiology or some shit. He's a physical therapist now. He was like doing some internship shit with the Lakers for a while. Now he works for like a private practice thing.
What the fuck is kinesiology?
I don't know. Physical therapy.
Sounds
it's
good,
like
though.
helping people with therapy and all that.
Okay.
But that guy busted his ass and worked hard. His mom taught him all how to save money, and they all have like fucking 800 credit scores, and they're all young. And they all work hard, and you're taught certain things, and if you're not taught these things, then how are you gonna know? I mean, I forgot what I was getting at, but he has.
We started with the nice whips in the hood,
Yeah.
and the priorities, how they're all fucked up.
Yeah. They don't teach you that in school. They don't teach you about money in school, and then you get older and you realize, oh, I fucked up. I gotta put this money in here or in some type of account where it accrues interest over time, or even start a side business and put money in that. Like, you never know until you get older. And that's how you learn. Sometimes people get way too old. Oh, long story. What I was getting at. Yeah, my buddy who's a trucker, I was hooking him up with my cousin, because he's a trucker, heavier guy, great guy. Has a beautiful Peterbilt, and he has horrible knees. His knees are torn to shit, and the guy's like in his 50s. And I'm just like, dude, how much longer are you going to do this? He's like, dude, I got like 4 kids. My wife's a fucking pain in the ass, and she always wants money. And I just see him limping to the chassis sometimes. He has a beautiful Peterbilt. Paid like $200,000 for that thing. Gorgeous. And he's just like, dude, like, this is my house. I don't want to come home. It's like, I just sleep in the truck, and I'll come home for like dinner and sleep. And then, and it's because, the guy was making a lot of money. They're spending a lot of money, and now he has to keep working.
You have to keep up
and
with that.
And his body is just
now all your possessions, they own you.
You don't know your possession. Yeah, because you got to keep that monthly nut. You got to keep making X amount. Dude, I started cutting off a lot of expenses when COVID happened. I lost like 80% of my business, like 70%. It went from like 50 to 55 to like 60 to 70, and it was like at 80 for a year.
You ain't playing. I know one time you picked me up in the Tesla, and you had a styrofoam cup in there with a beverage, and like, why stop at the store and buy beverages? You could just stock up with your drinks.
Fuck that! Not even that. Cable bill.
Yeah.
No more cable now. Like Netflix and chill and shit. Used to always go be at a restaurant every day. Restaurants every day, and it's like what, $75, $125, whatever. Wherever you go, $50, whatever, and you see all this money, but then you're like, shit, I'm making, X amount every day with these attorneys. What does it matter? Like, I'm making so much because I was a workaholic, 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, but all the money's coming in. Your kids don't have to worry about shit. Baby moms would ask me for money. I would literally just write her an allowance, whatever the issue was here, just here. And it was good. And then when COVID happened, you're like, whoa, like, oh my God, like this was my steady income every month for the past few years, and now it gets, depleted, and you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? So I had to start I was shopping around for car insurance, because it's like $500 a month to insure that car, and then the payment's like $1,000 and change. So I had to figure out a way to lower the payment. Like, it's just all these things you have to figure out. You're an adult, and you gotta adult around sometimes, and I figured it out. But once that business starts getting back up again, then probably going to do that again. But, the trucking business is good. It's just the ports are kind of tough to deal with sometimes. Just
a lot of unpredictability.
There's days where you can literally do like 4 turns, and it's a perfect fucking day, and everything goes good, and you make like almost $1,000. And then there's days where you
gotta shit in the truck.
You gotta shit. Well, it's not that bad, but it's come close. But yeah, there's days where you just gotta go home, just quemando rollo. Like, fuck, I was here 10 hours and I only made a couple $100.
Yeah, sometimes you finish so late. It's like, why even go home? I'm just gonna nap.
Yeah. Get
up, back at it.
Yeah, very true.
So, I noticed that. Well, not I noticed, but we obviously brought up the ATC. So, what's your goal with that overall? What's your vision?
I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start ramping it up.
Okay.
Because I was trying to assemble like the Avengers of lawyers. I wanted my civil rights guy. I wanted my immigration. I wanted everyone firing on every cylinder, and only the ones who wanted to be there, that wanted to do the best jobs. Like even going to one of your events, like where you set up your little tents, and bringing a few of them just to answer free legal questions. And then there they might get a case or whatever, or at least build a referral in the future, right?
Yeah, anytime. If
But-
you're up for it, I'm down.
But over time, a lot of the attorneys that I've had relationships with some of these guys for 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, relationships doing business, but now they're older and they've just made so much money. Some of them are just old, so they're not hungry anymore.
Oh,
What I'm trying to do is get guys that are firing on every cylinder. They want to go, they're hungry, they're going to do great work. They're never going to make me look bad. They're never going to say, oh, this, I'm never going to get you saying, oh, they took my DUI for $5,000 and they didn't do shit.
Yeah, you recommended me. Now your brand is burned.
Exactly. You don't want to do that. But with that being said, you can't keep everyone happy. I had a case where I was pissed because we had a few truckers in this lawsuit. Their company stole a bunch of money from them, and it settled. And I remember these truckers were, the contingency that this other law firm offered was like 10 or 20% higher. They were literally saying, give me half your money to settle. And I told my guy, dude, you can do this for like 25, 33%. And they're doing 45 to 50%. And he goes, all right, but don't take that many people on. I just want to do this many and we'll do it. Sure enough, he got him even more money than the other law firms got their people. And a lower contingency. Our guys were still mad at the attorney. And like, that's how truckers are, I guess. They're just so like quemados by everyone. They're just burned by everyone that they're like, this guy's after me too.
Yeah, defensive.
Just very like, they were all mad. And my guy's like, Jose, why? And he's a white guy. He's like, why are they upset? Why are they giving me crazy looks? Like one's like, he's an old Mexican with that funny eye. And dude he got good money.
Corrupto.
Yeah. Se vendió. That's the
Yeah.
Mexican term.
Yeah.
I've heard that in my life a trillion times. But
they don't know how much
that was
is
a
it.
trillion and one. Because they don't understand shit. They're just quick to jump the gun because even the Latino community, just everyone is dog eat dog a lot of it.
Yeah.
Not to say it's not in other communities, but it's more just, once there's an understanding of things, properly explaining something, you understand like how this and this is why this was the outcome.
Or you don't. You think that you're saying that just to justify the como te vendiste.
Very true. That's another side of the coin. But at the same time, I tell people, look, lady, because they always tell me that. When I used to work with this big injury firm, like, no, pues, no se van a vender, ¿verdad? I'm like, look, lady, you got a little rear ender. You're going to get like $3,000 if you're lucky. You think this guy is making $50 million a year is going to give up his practice, put his California bar card, his bar card at stake for $3,000? I'd understand if we were going against Exxon Mobil and it was a giant $200 million lawsuit, billion-dollar lawsuit. But lady, trust me, it's not going to go that way.
3,000, yo quería más.
Yeah, well, you're lying about saying your back hurts, and I don't believe you either, but whatever. But, some of those cases, there is big value there.
Hey, bro, it's your job to lie for her.
No, it's not my job.
Not to her.
Not my job to do anything, but I want to just kind of create something where I can help people, and then the attorneys will be thankful in the future too for me referring them stuff that they give me other work, because there's some law firms that I would give them every now and then, a referral from some old person that I used to help out with stuff, and they keep me busy. So it's kind of that symbiotic relationship where I help them, and then they keep me busy, and if ATC goes well enough, then I can go back into that business. I mean, but I did miss trucking a little bit. Kind of cool, just being a big fucking truck and just kind of no one bothers you.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling. When I used to deal with the attorneys a lot, I was on the phone maybe. Literally, I still there's a charger, a wireless charger on my fucking phone, and I would always be on the charger just charging because it would keep dying because it just would go out so fast because I had 2-3 phones at once.
Wow.
Because it was just different accounts and I couldn't keep up and batteries kept dying because this is back in the day before they had these. And I've always had to keep it charged because you're always like dealing with these people and these clients and coordinating and, going to accident scenes, writing up reports.
Let me see that shit.
Yeah,
oh, shit. Is it like a magnet or what?
Yeah. Magnetized.
So it's charging as long as it's
Yep.
touching the back of the phone, it's charging.
Yeah, I think
Kinda
Apple has one too.
Kind of like the newer cars have, that people just put the phone
They're
and the
developing.
center console.
Well, yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about the newer cars, electricity-wise.
Yeah.
There's a patent. I think they're doing it now. But
Yeah,
there's
just put it down slowly because all the echoes and shit.
These cars, right? So is it Finland or Norway? the car is driving, and the charging pad is the road.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's like technology that they're coming up with. So imagine the next 20 years how exciting that's gonna be in regards to that type of technology where you could just keep driving, your car keeps fucking charging. That's pretty sick. A road to Vegas. Imagine the road to Vegas as a trial, as a test dummy. Since they've been wanting to build that $1 billion railway for the last 46 fucking years.
Damn,
What if
imagine.
they just set up an electric track for all the... Because you already see Rivian has their trucks on the road. I go to Irvine sometimes for a law firm I deal with out there. And you'll see that little private freeway. I forget what it is. But like if you go Sunday mornings, you'll have some fun, man. Like you'll see Bugattis, Paganis. You'll see fucking Koenigsegg's. Like just
Damn.
stupid, beautiful cars. Just like rich white guy wants to take his Ferrari out for a little drive on a private, highway or whatever, just in Chinga. But you'll see Rivians, Polestars. Polestars, you see them here.
Man, fucking
Polestars.
Rivian. I lost like, I invested in Rivian a couple shares, not many, like 5 shares. What? For the
each.
price that it was, and now it's like halfway down. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, because that company, the CEO changed too many times.
There was a lot of hype, and I fell for it.
Well,
But
what was that company that took a big shit yesterday? Activision, I think. Whoever makes Call of Duty, Activision was acquired by Microsoft, and now they're gonna offer the Netflix of video games. So that's why I think Sony took a giant shit yesterday, because their PlayStation 5 is gonna be like sweating, because now they're offering a subscription services for games, unlimited game rentals for like $8 a month. So their stock fucking skyrocketed yesterday, like 10% or something, or 20%, I forget what it was. But anywho, I met a guy at a blackjack table who gave me like a lot of tips. He was a Wall Street guy, and we were drunk playing blackjack a while ago, and he tells me, oh, put a lot of money in Johnson and Johnson. They're gonna get bought, like they're buying this big company and their stock's gonna go up. I didn't listen to him. I thought he was crazy. Oh, he was right. The stock like went up like 30-40% like the next week, and it was like this, young white guy, like a couple years older than me, gorgeous Asian wife, but it was so funny. He's like, well, what do you do? He's like, I'm a Wall Street guy. I do this and this, and we're having a few drinks, and he ends up telling me, oh, like that's private information. He's like, I don't know you. I'm from fucking New York. We never talked. It's like, all right, funny shit.
I'm still processing that charger thing. Imagine being an old man, and then they got like
Witchcraft.
No, they got the future's gonna be interesting. They got the virtual reality shit. They got these gloves that you can feel the metaverse with. Imagine like they got this.
It's gonna go to the Matrix where we're just all on incubators.
No, imagine this chip like
Wall-E.
You put this chip in your penis, and then a chip on the partner's booty, and you charge your shit with spanking. So you just gotta keep spanking to keep charging.
Hey, you're a not person, really. No, but yeah, it's gonna get weird. Like Elon Musk was talking about.
I'm just saying, like, there's a bunch of weird shit that's gonna be happening. Yeah. I'm already seeing a little bit of it, like,
Well, I have not to get too off topic, even though I am, but like SpaceX and Blue Origin, Bezos' company, whatever. I think people say, why don't they just invest the money in helping people feeding world hungry? I think these guys are so smart they figured out that we've royally fucked ourselves, and we're so greedy we're not going to change our ways anyway because of self-preservation and generational wealth, that they just said, we're going to build something else far away from here with the money we got, because Earth is done. Like, you guys are just too stupid and greedy, and so we got to get out of here. I think weird. That's their weird. No, takes all kinds, man. You got to be weird. What would life be if everyone was the same?
I thought you would like my idea for that future thing, but oh well.
What idea? Oh, the
ass spanking. No, never mind.
Yeah, I think sex won't exist. It's a very primitive act, and I think that's what makes me believe in religion. Kind of, because it's like it's interesting. Sex, all that stuff. It's like procreation. And if you were to tell a guy, hey, are you down to have a kid, take on responsibility for the rest of your life? No. Hell no. No guy wants that. But women want it. So women will have kids when, a guy doesn't want them. And, so I think that's why they don't have male birth control. It hasn't been developed ever. They're working on it supposedly, but they won't, because Elon Musk is already saying, like, oh, we need to procreate a lot more of this human race is done for. Well, men don't really want to procreate. They don't want to get stuck. And then with the shitty money people are making less and less these days compared to back then. Like back then, you could keep up with inflation. People would work at Ford making X amount of dollars in the 70s and 80s and still have a car, go on vacation twice a year, still have a mortgage. Mom would stay at home. But now these families are getting broken up because mom has to work, dad has to work, the kids are running it about, and they barely make enough to pay anything. You're not keeping up with inflation. It's insane. Like, how much was a car back then to now? You know, the average person only makes what 20% more than X amount of years ago, and a decent car now is like 80, 90 G's. It's interesting, like the wealth gap is dividing, and they're the ones who can definitely afford shit, and then the ones who just kind of hand to mouth, and then a few people in the middle. So, what incentive do you have to want more kids when things are tough enough as it is for a lot of people? And then the quality of life of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want your kids being like these super affluent children who always end up overdosing on drugs and stuff. Like, I have a lot of friends in law enforcement too, where they tell me, like, dude, some of these kids commit suicide. A lot. He's like, suicide rates since COVID have gone up too. It's because these kids have nothing to thrive for. What do you want to go for? If you can have everything, what do you want to go for? You know, I have an uncle who made a lot of money in the furniture business and property. And my cousins back then, they would literally buy any. We would spend the whole weekend with them. They would take us to like Disneyland, then bowling, then lunch, then dinner, then fucking breakfast, like, everything, and donate to the church thousands of dollars and all this shit. And I would just wonder, like, oh my god, like this is the life. But then later on, they're just lazy and fucking fat. But they have anything they want. You know, my cousin had they like trucks, so brand new Yukon Denali, brand new Silverado, whatever, heavy duty. My uncle had two Harley F-250 diesels and an Infinity truck. And yeah, they had everything. And like my uncle, he's a horse guy, he still is. He owns like 20 horses.
Mm-hmm.
When he had a lot of money in Santa Anita, he had a race horse. He still has a race horse, but he used to have a fuckload, like a stable. And this guy was making just stupid money. And my uncle came from being super poor, living in Compton by the park on like Rosecrans in Atlantic, I think.
Yeah.
And now he lives in this giant fucking big ass equestrian property like in Hacienda Heights. And you know, he is the American dream. That's what people hope for. Like, you come here, bust ass, you live in the ghetto. My mom would tell us about stories of them pushing his car to start like at 5 a.m. for him to go to work.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my uncle started his business, and he got into a niche. I can't say what it is, but he got into like a niche of the business and just busted his ass, and he made more money than he even knew what he was making. And then he just started buying up a bunch of crap. But you know, so it shows you that sometimes you give kids way too much, and they have nothing to fight for. So you don't want to have those kids either. You want to, you know, even if you do hopefully do well one day, hey, pick up your shit, go wash the car, go do this, go get groceries, go work, go do this, because, you know, some of these kids that are so well off, it doesn't end well for them because they have nothing to thrive for. You know, I think it's called like failure to thrive or something.
I'm assuming, obviously, they go in with the intention of giving them what they didn't have, but they're doing them a disservice because they don't have no hustle.
Then you ruin them because there's no fire, there's no drive, there's nothing. I can't say this person's name, but a friend of mine, he's a wealthy nightclub owner, owns like some very. If I told you the nightclub, you'd know. But this guy, his children, can't say the children's girls
obviously
or guys.
Not.
No, can't. So nothing. But this person, all they do every day is golf, eat at the finest restaurants, and drink by their massive pool in the biggest house in the city nearby. That's all they do. And it's cool to look at their pictures because, like, they have this beautiful house and cars and Maybachs and like the G63 Brabus and all these badass cars. But you're like, you know, I want to call my buddy and be like, you fucked your kids up. And this guy's great. He's a very smart man. Retired attorney. Got into nightclub business. Very, very bright guy. You know, I got introduced to him because my kid's mom was his personal assistant for a long time. She's like, I want you to meet a guy. You guys kind of have the same thought process. You guys have the same humor. And yeah, this guy's hilarious. And I didn't know how much money and what business he was in until I met him. And then he's like, I own this type, this type, this type. I these properties, Section 8, all da-da-da. I can't say all the business he's in because someone might know. But he's in a lot of business. He's made a lot of money. You know, it's crazy. And this guy came.
Is he happy, you think?
I think he's older. He's like in his early 60s. No, he's like in his late 60s. I met him 15 years ago. I was 10, like probably 13 years ago. And he was late 50s back then, so yeah. Happy? I don't know, but he's a very happy, upbeat guy, even though he deals with these hard circumstances because he has a lot of kids with a lot of women.
Okay.
Because when you're having that much money, why not? You know, but he was a very upbeat guy. I had a lot of respect for him. Great guy. He was like good old boy. Like he would like just raunchy as fuck, you know. Yeah. Just talk about his good times and you know, we'd share stories and he's hilarious. And he would tell me like just things of real estate and knowledge. Knowledge is more important than money a lot of the time. He would.
Yeah.
I
The
would tell
knowledge
him,
gets you the money.
then yeah, and I would tell him, what about this with your property? They're offering you, I think it was like a big offer, like 12 million bucks. And he goes, no, I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm like, why? He's like, oh, the city is gonna approve. They're having a council meeting where they're gonna approve like a bond measure, some shit, to build a railway by here. And I'm like, oh, you're gonna convert this to like shopping spaces? He's like, probably. And I'll make like,
You'll adapt to
Ano-
the
yeah, well, it's going to bring in
project.
more revenue. So he
Yeah.
could build restaurants around the train stations. There's going to be a stop nearby, so he can do other stuff with that big lot of land.
Okay. So being informed helps
Yeah,
him make the
yeah,
right
being
decisions.
informed. And people who get into real estate, they, I know of a lady who, she was Salvador. I love her, man. Her name's Marina. I could talk all day about her. She's very, very wealthy in real estate. She came here super poor from Salvador. Her father was murdered. Her brother was murdered. She came here with like her brother and her sister. Then the brother got into a gang and was murdered. She was cleaning houses until she
Man.
saved like $3,000 back in like the 60s or 70s. Bought her first property. Then bought another property. Took out a lot of loans from the family. Bought another property. Started renting them, fixing them up. Bought more property. She tells me the funniest stories because now she's like upper class. I met her at a lunch with my buddy John, who's like a very wealthy retired attorney. He's like, meet Marina. I start talking to her, thinking she's crazy, wearing like all these, I thought were fake diamonds and just flamboyant Versace shirts and like really una mujer elegante, like very elegant, respectable woman. But I thought she was crazy because she was talking so much shit.
Okay.
And like just like the godmother. And everyone's like, that my buddy John goes, she likes you. He's like, hey, Jose, can you drive me home? And I'm like, what happened to your car? He's like, these ladies picked me up. I don't want to hear them cackle all the way home. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, that lady liked you. So about her family's all old real estate money. And I thought she was just like talking out her ass. Like, no, they're very wealthy people. It's like, this lady likes you. She told me to give you her number, and me and her talk. And every time I have a question about real estate, my brother does, I'll talk to her. And as soon as I say something, she'll go, oh, don't get me started with that, Jose. You have to deal with the fire, this and this. You have to deal with this
Not
and this.
worth it.
She's like,
Little
oh,
tips.
I told her about some property in Nevada that I was, had a friend looking at to buy. Oh, Jose, the casinos in the 80s or 70s or whatever, they bought up all the water rights, all these casinos. So now these properties don't have water rights. So the land is worthless. You can't do anything. Like she would put you up on game about real estate. You could tell her anything and she'll fucking put you on. She's been doing it for fucking 30 something years. So she'll let you know. You tell her, I'm looking at buy this property. Oh, well, you have to see how the city's going. You have to see what they're doing in that city. Go to the city council meetings. Find out what they're doing. So if they're going to convert this from an A1 agricultural whatever to a R1 or RD 2.5 or whatever, residential whatever, property per square foot. It's pretty much money making to where you buy a little ranch out in, I'm trying to negotiate something with somebody. Buying like an acre and a half of land out in Rialto, where everywhere around it, they're building all these houses and they've already built. But this guy had a bunch of problems. Finally, the guy's uncle died, gave him the property, and I'm negotiating with him. But the uncle didn't want to sell, but now this guy does. But if all these plans get approved, you could build probably 12 houses. You need a few million, but a lot of these investors, it's all numbers to them. So if they see if they
start with the land, I think.
Oh yeah,
they build on
exactly. Land, approve all that.
You have the main ingredient.
Yeah, God ain't making more of it.
No.
You could, people talk about these bitcoins and dog coins. Like they'll make 1 trillion fucking gazillion coins. This is just the new generation of pump and dump. Back then, when I used to invest in stocks, when I was trying to play with the stock market, I was a kid. I was like maybe 18, 19. I started an account. And I remember I get these texts and newsletters and all this stuff. Oh, this is the next big stock and this is why. And then the person who was sending you that letter was a person who already bought at rock bottom. And then they would send this letter to everyone. So all these people would drive up the price. It's a pump and dump. It's illegal. I don't know if it's a felony or what, but it's very illegal. And then they cut down because they're cracking down. People are getting arrested. But this is, to me, the new generation of pump and dump. It's some asshole fucking
There was a Squid Game.
Paul Logan or whatever the fuck, bringing up a stock, or whatever, all these guys pumping up this stock, and they already owned here. You bought it here thinking it was going to go here. They already sold. And Squid Coin ceased to exist. They went up 8,000% like in 5 minutes, and then it was like 10 million bucks.
Yeah, you heard about it.
I've heard about a bunch of them, and all these people,
And also having it doesn't get you the money just because you have the millions in that.
Yeah, and then
good luck converting that to cash.
That, and then there's capital gains tax. We still haven't figured out what the tax ramifications are as far as all this goes. Like, what is it? The government could say 31, 40. What I forget. Sometimes they're saying like 40%.
I heard 50%.
50%.
The guy that got paid in Bitcoin, his shit is right now like. I don't know right now, but the last I checked,
And,
$750,000. He could have had cash money,
yeah.
but right now because he went
Yeah,
with Bitcoin,
like
he's
three
at
and
like
change.
35,000
Yeah,
after
sure.
taxes and all that.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So, but it
But
happens.
he'll sit on
But
it. And
I
then
tell people to not play. If you're going to play in that realm of all these crazy altcoins, shit coins, whatever you call them, don't be afraid to lose your money because it can happen. You're at a casino. Don't think you're some savvy financial wizard because you ask like the best investors and they'll tell you, like Warren Buffett, like, what are we selling? At least there's something, there's a tangible asset with gold. It's there, it's a conductor. Something's value is determined on its scarcity. So if there's not a lot of it, it is more valuable. But if you make a trillion bitcoins or a trillion so-and-so coins that don't really exist and we only accept them for whatever, kind of like the dollar being so devalued, they've just been printing money. And look at inflation. Look at what you used to pay for a pound of meat. Look at what cars. It's so hard to find cars.
Yeah.
Your money is being devalued. With 20,000.
Hey, the hot Cheetos ain't 99 cents anymore, man.
Well, they're going up like $1.29 or something.
I miss those days. But
yeah, they used to be.
Yeah, all that
cents.
shit is that because we agree it is. Like $1's a dollar because you and I agree.
We agree it is. I don't know. Yeah,
The
dollar used to say silver note, but then
yeah?
they took that off because they couldn't back it with silver anymore because they had printed so many dollars. So yeah. So they printed so many dollars. So people told me when this was happening, like, what do you think? I'm like, dude, you're printing paper, a lot of it to buy stuff, but it either has to become from a service, a product or a service, or like labor or something. It has to come from something. This is just government money printing, and look what's going on now. Look at what happened with houses. You buy a piece of shit in Compton for $600,000 now, when you could have bought it for like $420 before all this happened, because people have so much more money and the government is so willing to lend at lower interest. And the market took a shit recently, like 2 weeks ago, because the government said, oh, we can't keep lending at these prices. So the market tanked, but it's not really tanked. It's just self-correcting. And there's always self-corrections in the market, especially when the government decides to intervene and all of it. But we're getting way too into other stuff, and I got to get going. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, let's we'll wrap it up with what would you tell 18-year-old you? I think that's gonna be my exit question from now on.
18-year-old me.
Yeah.
Advice.
Yeah. What would you do anything differently? No. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. What?
I don't know. Just shit. If I can tell, just I don't know. Be more open-minded about stuff. Be more open to stuff. There was stuff back then where I could have made a lot of money in certain things, and I wasn't open-minded enough because they were perceived as bad back then, and now it's legal. And back then I could have not had to work ever again. So be more kind of open-minded and understanding. That's about it. I think I've nailed that now. So
never too late. Look at that. The KFC guy, he made it when he was like close to 60 or so.
Yeah, some people don't make it because they just don't keep going. And if they would have kept going, they would have made it. It's just like you give up or you just get sidetracked. And it's all right because the road of success is paved with failure. We all fail. I started so many other businesses before I got good at this. Yeah. And they all fail. And then the attorney services did well, and it was enough to pay the bills and, food on my kid, clothes on my kids, food in their stomach, roof over their head, decent car, and all that. And it's through failure, and I've been screwed in the legal business too. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, if I had to put a number, it'd probably be like $300,000, $400,000 in like the past, couple of years.
People only see the wins, and then they compare that to their situation, and they feel like maybe they don't have it, so they quit. But they don't know that that person they see winning was once like them.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. My uncle used to sell pants, used Levi's, and he was a paletero, and sell used Levi's. And it got to a point where he has fucking like all these race horses at Churchill Downs, Santa Anita, all these places. And my cousin will post videos every now and then, like, hey, if you guys are looking to bet on a horse, bet on this one's my dad's. We're very confident. Whatever, he's gonna win. And then my cousin posts another video. I told you he'd win. And I've gone to the track where they're like, yeah, we're thinking this one's gonna win. And I'll bet a couple $100, couple thousand, whatever, and I win. And and that came from just this guy from Zacatecas with no money and just wanted a better life for him, and he just married my aunt, and they're like, dude, we can't live like this, we gotta go. And then he just got into a business and started busting his ass, doing well, and now the guy don't have to work. He owns enough real estate where he could just live off that and live off his businesses and yeah, some people give up. But if you have an idea, my best advice, if you have an idea, make it a point to dedicate like 30 minutes, just 30 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day on that idea. How can you make it better? What's the use of that? Who can you present it to? How are you going to make your money? What is your exit strategy if you decide to exit? Like, just think of that. Think of the product, making the product better, making the service better over time. And yeah, dude, trust me, that's how I made my shit. I started offering this service and then this service. How can I make that service faster and better and more personable? How can I make the client, the interaction between the customer, like me and the customer, the client, better? So then I would do certain things to make it a lot better. And the retention rate with these firms, you could see it in a fucking chart. It would go up. Like, they would stay with the attorney because you could fire your attorney whenever you want. And the goal is to keep them in there, especially if they're VIPs. If it's a horrible case where they got decapitated or dismemberments or, you know, they were maimed or whatever, like just crazy shit, they want to keep them. They call them VIPs because those, you know, especially if there's they know there's big policy limits too. It's not just about me cutting your hand off with a samurai sword. If I'm Charlie Sheen and I cut your hand off with a samurai sword, you're going to get paid out. Probably get HIV too. But,
Allegedly.
But you know, if a bum cuts your arm off, you ain't getting shit because they don't have anything. So you have to look at, like, just because you got hit by a car doesn't mean, you know, they might have broken every bone in your body, but the policy limits aren't there, and you could go after their personal assets. But the thing is that if a person only has $15,000 in coverage, that's the cheapest insurance. They probably don't have $1 million in assets or 100 million or whatever.
There's people that get in an accident with their best friend. Then the best friend sues them.
Well, yeah, because they were fucked up in the accident too. It's nothing against the friend. I mean, people get all butthurt.
Yeah,
but they do a lot of the time. But it's like, well, you know what? They're still hurt. They still got to go to therapy. Waste time. They're messed up. They're in bed for a week. Like, I don't blame you. If you were in an accident with me in my car, good for you, because I got like 150 grand in coverage. So you're set. Like, no matter what I do, unless you die.
You do all this consulting, and you know, I know you got the money, so I'm going full force, homie.
Nope.
And I ain't wearing no seatbelt. Wait.
You jump out the fucking car like, like, Louis, we're not even in the car yet. Like,
Louis, I had a dash cam. Oh.
Well,
with you, bro.
Where's the dash cam?
Yeah, you had a dash cam.
All right, brother.
Okay. Where can if they want to know more about you?
ATC Attorney Trucker Connection. Just on my Instagram. I just started it a few months ago.
Literally like that. No underscores. ATC.
No, they could just go Attorney Trucker Connection. One word.
Okay.
And it says ATC. It shows like the blind justice and a little truck behind it.
Okay.
Just go to that if you have any questions. Again, these questions, if I can't answer them, if it's not like something simple, again, it's not advice, it's my opinion. It's not legal advice. It's not legal advice. It's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I have enough connections of attorneys always answering any questions that I don't feel comfortable answering or giving my opinion on. I try to get the most educated answer, and that's why I have my network of attorneys. So if you guys do have questions in regards to that or drafting up legal contracts, especially in trucking, people, whoever listens to this podcast, trucking contracts, very important. Make sure to dot the I's and cross the T's, man. I know somebody who lost a lot because they didn't stipulate certain things in their agreements. Just spend the $500 or $1,000 on getting an attorney to make your contract bulletproof. That way, at least when shit hits the fan, and hopefully it doesn't.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit, sorry. You know, you don't lose everything. You know, I had somebody who didn't want to spend like $700 on a contract, and they had a decent contract, but it wasn't that great. My attorney's like, oh, there's these holes in this, and if an accident happens, an attorney will come in. It's not just a person who like, not just an idiot who's reviewing the contract when shit hits the fan. It's attorneys, it's litigation, you know, it's a big insurances and you know, it's private attorneys. So they want to see the flaws so they can come at you and, you know, bite you by the ass. So they want to see that. So that's why I tell people sometimes it's good to spend the extra couple bucks, because that contract you're going to use with your subcontractors or your business associates. People, you know, I had one guy hit me up from a trucking company not too long ago. He's like, hey, dude, they owe me like 50 grand. I'm like, well, look, you can sue them, but what type of assets do they own? Because if they don't want to pay you, I mean, you might settle with them. But then the thing is, if they don't even want to settle, then you're going to have to bring them to court, get a judgment, and get a judgment debtor exam. What real assets do they own? Those trucks are leased, the property is leased, the containers are leased, nothing's really to their name. So you're going to be, you know, going down that rabbit hole when you could have just had a solid contract. So why open that can of worms if you could do that? But anywho, yeah, I have connections for all of them, and I'll be probably putting up more content, setting stuff up. I've just been busy with a lot of stuff, you know.
Eventually, you'll have like a hotline, right, or a number they can call direct.
Yeah,
you know?
it'll be there. Right now, the volume isn't there, which is fine.
Okay.
It's just a side project I've been working on, just because again, I got tired of truckers getting fucked a
All right,
thousand ways
cool.
from Sunday. So
Well, I'll be keeping an eye out, and you can always reach out to get the word out.
yeah.
You know. So thank you guys for tuning in, and catch you guys on the next one.